Let's take a look at 5 ways that you can use Copilot in Word. You can create a first draft. You can create content based on the content that you've already got in your document or other documents. You can rewrite content automatically or with a prompt, transform content into a table, seems underrated, but one of my favorite features, and chat with Copilot to get answers to questions related or not related to your document content. Now, for everything I'm showing in this video, you are going to need a Copilot license. This is going to cost money, but hopefully you'll start to see some of the value that comes through. You've got 2 options here. If you are a home or really tiny business user, you can actually do almost everything I'm going to show you here. There's only one thing you can't do, and I'll call it out, with the Copilot Pro license. And the other option, if you're in a bigger business enterprise organization, or if you want additional features that come with this license, no matter what size business you're in, then you will need the Copilot for Microsoft 365 license. All right, enough about the licensing. Let's take a look at what you can do. So when you've got your Copilot license purchased, you'll find that you've got 2 Copilot experiences sitting inside Word. Here's the first one here. I'm on my document and I've got a little icon here. We're going to use that for all of the times that we want to actually draft content in the document. The second one is up here in the toolbar, which is the Copilot chat pane that you might be a little bit more familiar with. If I click on this one, you'll see that opens that sidecar panel, and that's where you can use that to ask questions about the document or get summaries and things. For most of what I'm going to show you here, we will come back to this one at the end, but most of the value of the Copilot in Word is this piece here in drafting content. So we click on this little icon here and we get the Draft with Copilot window. You've got a prompt here, and notice that you can actually use up to 2,000 characters in your prompt. We will come back to that. Let's get started with something here that says, help me write about the benefits of low code. Now, you can use this prompt to do all sorts of things. Help me write about a certain topic. You can use it to do something very business related. Help me write a business case for this, a marketing plan for that. You can actually go into something very creative as well. Help me draft the outline of a novel for something, or a children's picture book. So anything you can think of, whether you're using this at home for your own sort of creativity or in a business context, have a play with the different prompts here, because you actually do get some really good stuff. All right, I talked long enough for it to finish generating. Do you like that? Once it's done, so you'll see it was bringing up a series of different messages there, working on it, in progress or whatever, but it doesn't take too long. I did that one in real time. You'll generally, with a nice broad prompt like this on a topic like this, get 1 to 2 pages. So I've got 600 words. I've done this a few times. Usually you get 900 words, couple of pages as a starting point, which is much better than a blank screen, isn't it? Let's just take a look. Always check what Copilot does, because it's AI. You know, you want to make sure that it's looking all right. What is low code? What are the benefits of low code? How to get started? Okay, not bad. All right. Now, what we've got at the moment, you'll notice that all of the text here is highlighted in a pale blue color. The way that that is working is that this is still in draft mode, and we've now got this panel here. Let's just bring this guy. You can move it around. Let's bring this up a little bit so that we can see it. You've got a big button here that says keep it. As soon as you press that button, the content that's there will go into your document. So at the moment, it's not actually in the document. It's existing as a draft. We're not going to do that yet. I'm going to push this a little bit further before we press that button, because I can refine and iterate here. So let me take you around the options here. You'll see that we've got the option here to edit the prompt. So if I click on that, it brings up the existing prompt and I can make a change to that prompt. We're going to do that in a second, but I just want to show you the other options first. Keep it will accept that and get rid of the blue highlighting, and it's in your document and you're good to go. This one here, regenerate, I'll click this one while I talk about, just takes exactly the same prompt and gives you a different version of the content. Now, depending on your prompt, this will be either almost exactly the same or quite different. So if you're using a prompt that's something like, help me write the outline of a novel for a detective fiction in Sydney in the 1950s, you're actually going to get something quite different because that's a very creative prompt that could go anywhere. Something like this is probably mid-range. We're going to get almost the same thing. It's sort of structuring it in the same way. It looks, I didn't sort of keep it, but we'll see in a minute, you can compare. It looks pretty similar to what we got before. If you're getting into a very specific prompt, something like write about how delicious fresh pineapple ice cream is, where is my brain going with this, then you will probably get almost the same thing every time. So the more kind of it's got to draw on in its general knowledge of generating things, the more variety you're going to get with that. So, you know, as you play around this, you'll get a sense of it. One thing I want you to notice straight away here, look at this, 2 of 2. So because I clicked regenerate, I've now got 2 versions of my draft, and I can click back to the other one and have a look at it. So we can compare here. Low code is a software development approach that allows you to create applications. That's exactly the same. Look at that, it's not even changing at all. Let's see if it's got a change somewhere here. Yeah, okay. I'll show you the more creative example. Let's just grab a new document here and do the one that I'm talking about. Draft the outline of a detective story set in Sydney in 1950s. I just want you to see a couple of different examples of, you know, the kinds of things that it can do. My other tip here for you, don't click away. I like to multitask. It's probably not smart, is it? But I go, it's going to take all of 30 seconds. I have to wait for this thing to generate. So I go away on my other screen and I click somewhere else. If you click away, you will lose this option here to be able to keep drafting. I love it when things go wrong. I'm going to leave this in. Copilot can't finish generating high quality content. This is something where it basically is just saying it just kind of can't do it, but let's dismiss that and just generate it again. Usually, sometimes if you're asking it, some of the things I'm going to show you later, if you're asking it to do a task that it just can't handle, it does that. Sometimes I think it does that when it just sort of is at capacity and it can't keep going. So here we go. We've got the Harbour Mystery, a Detective Graham novel. We've got the outline. That didn't really do very much. Let's see if we can get a better result this time by clicking on the regenerate button. Usually what you get is something more like a summary and some characters and some different chapters. So you'll see the first time it was generating it, it was giving me more. Here we go. We're getting much more. Lessons here. You will get a different outcome each time, even using the same prompt. Some things will generate some different stuff. Some things will generate very similar kinds of things. So look at all we've got here. This is kind of giving me something different. So if I go through and say 2 of 2 here and go back, you're actually getting quite a different output than when I was working with this one here. So what we've got in here is when we did the regenerate, you get the 2 different versions that you can scroll back and forth. Keep it will do what we saw before. The trash can, rubbish bin as I would call it, will just discard it entirely. So the other 2 options you've got here are help me write about the benefits of low code. Now this is where you can refine this prompt. So this is effectively the same as the regenerate, but we're tweaking that initial prompt. So we might want to say the benefits and value to a large organization of low code and generate that. The other way that we can do this, which I'll show you in a moment, is to kind of refine and fine tune and extend. So you can play around with both of these options depending on how you want to do it, but you would use this one if you want to just change up that prompt again without having to start again. So you'll see now it always gives the title as pretty much what the prompt is. So you kind of lose your prompt, but you can find it again in the title. We've got a nice subhead here. We should actually get something quite different this time. So you'll see because I've altered the prompt, I'm getting a different result. So now we're focused on large organizations. I do enjoy that I use the Australian spelling and it's sticking with that. And there we go. And we've got our conclusion. The other thing you can do here, so let's see, this is now 3 pages, 925 words. The other thing that we can do is to use this piece. So this one is actually letting us change the prompt, effectively start again, whereas this one is actually letting you fine tune or refine it. Now I don't have to state the prompt again. It's working kind of in the context of what it's already done. It knows what it's already done. Please include reference to the Power Platform. But I don't have to say, please write about the benefits of low code and it's already sort of working that in there. Other things you can do in here are things like make it shorter, make it longer, change the tone, rewrite it to be suitable for an audience. One of my favorite things here might be to say something like, and we might try this one, rewrite it with the CIO in mind who is making a business decision about whether to go down the path of low code or something like that. So let's see how we go here. We've got, there we go, for example, Power Platform. So it's not writing a whole document about Power Platform, but it's actually going in and just adding references, which is exactly what I asked it to do. There we go. We've got, for example, Power Platform. So that's coming up 2 or 3 times. Check your information. If you're following this closely, Power Virtual Agents is an outdated reference now. Copilot Studio. Check out my other videos here if you're into that. So you'll see we're actually getting up here now. We've got so far 1,200 words, so it's generating even more. We'll let that keep going, and once we are happy with it, we'll give it a second. Conclusion, there we go. So let's say we decide to keep that draft. Next, number 2, second thing you can do here is to generate additional content based on the document that you've got. I'm going to go back to my other one here that was the more creative writing piece. And what we can do is use Copilot to generate additional content based on what's already here. So if we come in and click somewhere in the document, I can click on Copilot, and now you'll see I can put another prompt in, which I'll do, but I've got this other option here that says inspire me, and this will basically just kind of keep writing. You can put this in different parts of the document and get different results. I've deliberately switched back to this one because it's a shorter, more creative document, and this inspire me does better with that. Whereas if you've got something that's already 3 pages long and quite detailed, you'll find that the inspiration isn't as inspiring, if you like. So this can help you with just coming up with more ideas for your content. Let's keep that. So now what we could do is, let's say we want to flesh out this Detective Graham character a little bit more. So I can come in here and use my draft to say, describe, please write a background about the main character. Now, I don't have to specify who it is or what's going on here because this is, again, working in the context of everything that you've got going on. I will show you in a moment the thing that you do need the Microsoft 365 Copilot for, which is generating content from other documents. If you're working with Copilot Pro, you won't be able to do that. For my Copilot Pro users out there, you can actually do things like, for instance, generating this content that's in there. We've got quite a past for that character. You can pause the video if you want to read that properly. Let's go back to the one here where we're talking about low code. So let's say I've got all of this sitting in here, and maybe I wanted to write a social media post about this. So we can come in here and describe what I'd like. Write a social media post, no more than 200 words. And again, it's not just going to write any social media post. It actually knows that it's working with that content. So even though with Copilot Pro, you can't say, write a summary based on this document, and this document, if you have stuff in the document you're working with, you can do that. This is also quite good for doing things like, for instance, suggest better titles for my document. Help me write a 1-paragraph pitch to send this to my CEO. All of those kinds of things in there as well. Now, the other thing you can do if you've got the Copilot for Microsoft 365 license, you can't do this particular part with Copilot Pro, but it's the only thing in this video that you can't do with that license, is generate content based on content from other Word documents and PowerPoint presentations. I've got here a Word document, which is a copy paste of a blog post from the Microsoft website. Thank you, Sarah Critchley, for your wonderful work there. And also a PowerPoint deck from the Copilot Studio PowerCat team. I'll put links to both of these if anyone wants to find the original sources in here. I've chopped this down to 13 slides. The original one is very, very long. Generally here, you want to be working with documents that are up to 20 pages, 15,000 words. Otherwise, it's going to just kind of work with the start of the document and you'll lose the rest of the detail there. So I'm going to come in, generate my prompt here, write a summary about how a customer can benefit from Copilot Studio with reference to that Word document and that PowerPoint deck. And off we go. And this is actually going to draft with all of that information as an input. You'll see it actually gives you the summary based on, so it's got those document references there in the output, which is useful. If you choose to accept it, you've got that there. You can always edit that out later. And we're getting really nice content here. What is Copilot Studio and how to use it? How can it benefit your organization? So it's taking all of that very rich content from those two documents as well as my prompt to produce something that's going to save me a lot of time. Number 3 is that you can rewrite existing content. So let's take this paragraph here where we've got an introduction. If I highlight that, you'll see that I've got a Copilot icon that pops up on the side to rewrite with Copilot. And I've got 3 options here: write a prompt, auto rewrite, and visualize as a table. Write a prompt will basically give me the same kind of experience that I was doing before. Make this shorter, for instance, or let's do the one we said we were going to do before. Change this so that it is written for a CIO who is making decision. And you'll see that it will actually sort of change the tone and the way that it's written in here. We'll give this a second because we didn't get much variety in this one before. So let's see what we get this time. There we go. As a CIO, you're constantly looking for ways to improve your software development capabilities. And I've got the same options that I can have in here. I can keep it, I can regenerate it. Let's keep that one and get rid of the previous version. I can also come in here. That's rewriting with a prompt. I've specified a specific thing that I want it to do. We've also got an option in here called auto rewrite where I'm not writing a prompt at all. And what this is going to do is give me 3 options for the content rewritten. So here we go. We've got 1 to 3, so I can click through. And again, depending on the content that you're working with here, you're going to get different varieties of things. What you can choose to do here is click replace, which obviously replaces it, insert it below, which is the experience we just saw, regenerate. If I don't like those 3 options, I can say, thanks Copilot, give me 3 different options. And here we go, 1, 2, 3. They're all pretty similar though, aren't they, with this one? So let's do something else here, which is that you can change the tone. So this tone is neutral. I could make it professional. I think I won't see much different. Casual, imaginative, or concise. What do you reckon? Imaginative? Let's see what happens. We might as well have some fun with this. I want to show you something that it will do in a different kind of way. Now, a little tip for you here. If you use Copilot for Word, if you're using Word on the web, you actually, with this option, get more than just those tones. You actually can write a prompt in there as well, but you don't get that if you're using the app, which is mostly what I use. Now you'll see you actually get an imaginative rewrite, so you can see what it is. As the tech wizard helming the chief information officer's desk, I mean, this is awful, but and we're referencing unicorns, but you know what? You get what you ask for here. So I'm going to, look, you know what? This document is of no consequence. So let's replace that in there. I just really want to show you some of the things that you can do. The 4th thing that you can do here is to visualize something as a table. Now, this one I actually really love. If you've got something where you have got a bunch of text, so you could take something like this. Let's give this a go and sort of get all of these bullet points here, and let's say we want to turn this into a table. If I highlight all of that, again, here's my Copilot, and I can choose to visualize as a table. I don't know how well it will do with this, but it will sort of take that information and turn it into a table. Here we go. Benefits, explanation, example. You can then use the prompt to refine this, and because it's using generative AI, it can actually add additional content in here. I'm going to go in and show you something that works with something like a travel itinerary. This is representative of a recent trip that I was lucky enough to do. So what we can do here, you'll see I've got a list of things, and I haven't been terribly consistent with my formatting. There's no like comma delineation, no comma delineation. I've got dashes in some places and not in others. So let's highlight this, grab Copilot, visualize as a table, and it's going to do its best to interpret this. And actually I've tried this before I hit record, so I know that it does a pretty good job of it. What it's actually going to do is take this and understand what all of these different columns are. So we've got a date, a time, the flight number, the route, and the duration. Watch this though, because I want to change some of what's going on here. Let's make it hard. So let's say, please split the route into origin and destination. Add a column for the airline that's not in the document, and combine the date and time columns. What do you reckon? The clever thing about this, because it is using generative AI, is that it's actually able to go out and figure out what the airline is. And I'm assuming it's using the flight number there because it's got the context of all of those things. It knows that QF is a Qantas flight, and it's actually able to do that. So you'll see I've given it a decent mix of airlines in there, and it has done everything I asked for. Thank you, Copilot. Now, the other Copilot experience we've got here, everything we've done so far is working with that Copilot in the document, but let's not forget about our friend here that can bring in this chat experience. This is giving you a couple of suggested prompts. Summarize this doc is the obvious place to go. I find that the standard summarize this doc button tends to be a little long-winded in its summary. It's quite a long summary. This is a 5-page document, 1,600 words. It actually comes up with sort of quite a lot of things about the main ideas, and you'll see what happens here is it's actually giving you these citations so you can hover over them, as well as building out references at the bottom there that you can click on and open all of the references that are in there. You can copy that, use it somewhere else. You can actually use a prompt yourself to say summarize this document in 1 paragraph or in 3 key points or whatever if you want a more concise summary. You can also ask it to find all of the references to something. So I could say find all references to Power Platform. And then it will go through and find all of those. And again, it's going to give me those citations in there. This sort of stuff is really useful if you have been given a large document. Remember that kind of 20-page, 15,000 word limit, though. It's not going to handle things that are hundreds of pages. But if you need to get across something quickly, or, sense check what you've done. So there we go. We've got quite a few different references in there. What you can then do is also ask questions about the content of the document. So, well, it's a lot of references to Power Platform that it put in there. We can ask questions about, let's see, I'm just going to find something that's in there about continuous improvement. So let's put something in here that says, how can low code help with continuous improvement? Notice you've also got a little microphone icon there. So if you're using this with a microphone connected, you can actually dictate those things as well. This will actually give me an answer based on, hopefully, what's in the document, and it's going to tell me that that's where it's found that answer. Almost there, almost there. There we go. So this is giving me all of the information, and again, we've got all of those references to the document. You can also ask it questions that are unrelated to the document. How can I get a job as a Power Platform developer? which I'm pretty sure is not going to be in this document, but you can actually ask it about anything. So this is essentially giving you access to the large language model for just general knowledge that you can use to ask anything that you might want to know without having to switch back and forward. So you don't have to switch back out to ChatGPT or to Copilot on the web or something like that. You can use these things in here. Now this does appear to be, oh, look at this. It's actually drawing stuff from the web. So it's actually giving you a link to somewhere. So that's drawing from Microsoft Learn. So it's bringing things that are not part of the document. Tell me what you find most interesting about Copilot in Word. Which one of these things are you going to use? And for more on all of the Copilot in Microsoft 365 experiences, check out my playlist here. Thanks for watching.